Oh, hey! Yeah, I don't know them, but you know what they say. In the HYROX, we all fam. I just made that joke so that in 5 years, no one will have any idea why I just did that. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today is my chat with Sean Noble. Here's the timeline. Sean posted that he was penalized without knowing about it. And then my buddy Ian K from UK, HXR, messaged me to say, hey, would you like to speak with him about it? So we made a plan to talk. And then someone sent me the actual video. I said, Sean, if we're going to talk, I got to be able to show the video. And he agreed. So off we went. Let's get to what the heck happened with Sean Noble. Away we go. How are you, Sean?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just back from Croatia, which is probably the prettiest place I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, it's very nice. I've never been there, but I've heard it's very nice.
Yeah. Do you race the Spartans or you just do HYROX?
Like I'm very new into HYROX as well. I don't race anything really. My background is football and boxing. I literally got into.
Oh, you're a fighter, are you?
Not a fighter, no. I mainly football, soccer. Played, you call it soccer in America. I played soccer at a semi-professional level.
You said boxer. Did you say boxer?
I boxed as well. I hurt my knee, and then I was boxing for a few years, but only as like I wasn't that good. Only training and sparring, and I fought on one show. But that's just my sporting background. And like a year ago, I got into HYROX.
And did you race pro right away, or how did that go?
Yeah, I raced pro in Glasgow. I always kind of have this conversation with Graham Halliday whenever I see him. So me, Graham, and Tony Rebel went out I was like 301, 302 pace. It was ridiculous. It was like I hit the sled push, and I was actually a little bit ahead of Graham. And when I hit the sled push, everyone was like, "Go on, Sean!" And I hit the sled push, and they were like, "Oh." I couldn't move the sled. It took me about 5 minutes, honestly. I couldn't move the sled.
Do you know why that was?
I was shocked. I redlined. I didn't understand. I didn't even train properly for it. I didn't even have a clue. I never even did wall balls. I was like thinking that I could just push this like a trolley nearly. And I hit the sled and I was just like, fuck, I'm done here. And then since then I was like, let me figure out how to train for this. And I got into running then, and I just like, I love the sport. I love competing, and yeah, kind of went from there,
Well, let's pull up your high result.
Yeah.
Close all these other windows. I have so many fucking windows open. Hang on. Mess with this high result?
Yeah.
So good, right?
Yeah, really good.
Just pops it right up there.
Yeah.
Okay. 9 races.
Yeah.
Let's go. Pro men 6 times. So Glasgow 23, 108.
Yeah.
London 103. Dublin 106. Barcelona 103. And then looks like finally London this year you broke out with a 59.09.
Yeah.
So tell me about, how did that one go?
And then the World Championships, that was 59 as well.
I know, but we're talking about London now. Come on,
sorry.
Stay with me.
London, sorry. Yeah, so London was the first race where I felt like I had a chance really of winning. I know I won Dublin, but the caliber of athletes weren't the same. Like London was, I think it was the biggest HYROX from a participation point of view. And I properly trained for London. I had my running down and my sleds. So like I will say, like my wall balls and my lunges, I knew like on the day I could potentially kind of falter on them, but I knew like my sled times were really good in training. I'd stay up there with anyone on the sleds, and I run well off the sleds as well. So going into London, yeah, like I pulled back. I think I was like ninth going into the sled push, and I pushed it like a 2:17. It was a low twos anyway. Pushed it well. And then the sled pull is my thing. I'm really good at sled pull. I don't know why, just maybe good grip strength or whatever. And I did a 301 sled pull, which in the pro, that I just decimated everyone on the sled pull. And the race was over. I had like a 2-minute lead coming off the sled pull, and I literally just coasted through the whole race. I was on the rower, and I was like 500 meters ahead of second place. And then yeah, that was it. But like, and then also there was kind of, I had my first experience where I had a race director go around every single station in London. So I had a race director going from literally the sled push pull, because I was leading. That's the way in the UK. Like if you're leading the pro race, a race director follows you around to ensure, you know, obviously standards are hit and whatnot. So that was my first experience with that as well. So yeah, and then I think I won by a good bit in London.
So did you get no reps at all? Wall balls or lunges or burpees?
I got no rep. It's on UK XR had a live stream. I got no rep on my wall balls. Relatively normal. I did a 430 wall ball. Yeah, I got no rep for the start. I wasn't hitting the middle of the target, and the Scottish head judge told me middle of the target, and then 1 or 2 depth, but like it was normal. It wasn't nothing crazy, you know. But I got no reps. I think my burpee when I came in, I probably put my hands a little bit further than 12 inches, and then I got put back, I think at the start, and then I was very cautious and I just, you know, went through it normally.
So let's talk about this race that just happened. You finished the race.
Yeah.
They give you the flag, right?
Yeah.
And did they tell you during the announcement, by the way, this earns you a spot to Chicago?
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing in America when it was some categories, almost all the categories had 1 slot, but some of the older doubles categories, there were 2 slots, I think. But they would say, congratulations, you've earned your flag and a trip to Chicago.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then what happens? Take me through the next, 24 hours.
Yeah. So like,
hang on a second. Before we even go there, I just want to say for the record, and I will say this, I'm sure when I do an intro for the show, I'm not a fan of what happened. You and I are here to talk about your thoughts on it and a chance to answer for yourself, since you've got the internet doing what it's doing and talking at you about your thing. So, but I will say I am not a fan of we've talked about this a lot on our shows, and basically, unless someone is hurting someone else, like if you threw an elbow at a guy and they didn't see that until the end and then they found out, then I think that deserves a disqualification. Other than that, I think refs got to call everything on the field. So that's my feeling on it. Now, why don't you tell me what happened?
Yeah, so I finished the race. I knew when I was like, from my London time, which was 59:09, I was a much better, like my 10K, like I'm 86 kilos, my 10K is 32 minutes. Like I knew on those runs I was going to be smoking those runs and I was going to pull back. So I knew I was going to be faster. So it wasn't a surprise, but I did push it a lot more than I've ever pushed it. But anyway, just after the race, I felt like I stayed around. Spoke to a few people, actually spoke to Hunter Graham. I was, obviously over the moon. It was a PB for me. I got my flag, spoke to a few athletes, and I was over there by myself. So I went home, tried to get some sleep, but I couldn't really because I was flying back early in the morning. So I woke up early in the morning and I was kind of going through I was like sitting in an Uber and I was going through my splits. And then as I'm going through my splits, so the thing that really annoyed me was I put up a post, and I'm not one to I don't want to bash HYROX. I don't want to come out and say, what the hell, I got 56 and then they have to give me a 6-minute penalty. I wouldn't have posted anything. And because I won and I got my flag and everything was legit and confirmed, I posted saying, happy to win, Amsterdam, blah, blah. So I got everyone congratulating me. And then I'm in the Uber and someone's like, mate, I think you got a 6-minute penalty. So I'm like, fuck. I'm going through my like splits to look at my splits, and I see I got like nearly a 9-minute lunchtime, and then underneath that it says 6-minute penalty. So HYROX didn't actually tell me. They didn't tell me, even though I was like, I think it was 1 second off the British record, and it was obviously a fast time. But HYROX didn't tell me.
I don't believe in country records, by the way.
I know, but I
believe in one record. You get the fastest time, or you're not.
Yeah, I agree.
What if I'm the fastest? What if I'm the fastest American in London? Does that count as a record?
Exactly. Yeah. You're right. There is only one record, but like I'm never going to get near that record, so that's why I just say Irish record or whatever, So I'm in the Uber, and then I literally I'm shocked because I put a lot of effort and time, and then I don't know what's going on. I thought it was a blip. I thought there must be a mistake here. So I had a friend that was racing on the day. I rang him and I said, "Are you at the event?" And he said, "Yeah, what's going on?" I was like, "Well, I've just seen online that I have a 6-minute penalty. Would you mind, going down to the race HQ for here?" So then he goes down and he gets on to the race director, Jakob, I think his name is.
Okay.
And then Jakob says, "Can you put him on the phone? I want to speak to him." So I'm in the I'm in the airport about to get on the flight, and he says, "Yeah, this basically an unofficial video was shown that morning that was sent in to HYROX, and because it was such a fast time, they reviewed it and they deemed my steps on the lunges to be a serious violation of the movement standards, and they sent it to the HQ as well. And I think I think maybe Mintra or someone else reviewed it, and they confirmed that it's not, you can't win a pro race form on the. They deem a 6-minute penalty in this case. I said, listen, I completely, my response was I completely agree. I think I think if you don't have proper form, if you violate the rules, the standards, it should be a penalty. But again, that should be from the judges to enforce on the day. I knew exactly what he was talking about because, like, to give you a mindset of the race, I looked down at my watch and I knew I was on course for 56. And I attacked the lunges really, really fast, the first two. And when I'm turning the corner, I start to feel like I'm about to cramp. So what I do is I take a little step to relieve the cramp, but like bear in mind, I'm in the heat of the moment. My heart rate is at 180, 190. I'm literally fit to die at this stage. And I take a step, and as I'm turning the corner, as I'm approaching the men's doubles, that's what you see. I take a step before the video starts. And then I lunge, I take a step, lunge, take a step, lunge. And then because there was a 10-meter gap between me and the judge, and then I come in contact with the judge and I don't do it anymore. So that's what kind of pissed me off was I was like, I completely agree. I apologize. I violated the rules. I admit to it. And that's in my post. I never said I didn't violate the rules. I completely agreed and I apologize for that. And I said that on the phone. But I think a 30-second to a minute penalty would be appropriate because 6 minutes, like I could fucking moonwalk the lunges, and you know what I mean? You could shoot me in both kneecaps and I'd still do it in 9 minutes. So I just thought that was a little bit like it wasn't a fair penalty,
Well, there's a couple things at play here. Number one, so you saw their answer. We reserve the right within 48 hours, which to me is like, whoa, like that means you could like win the world championship.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or maybe they're saying because later on when they drug test, that's the 48 hours. Now that I'm just sort of thinking that as I'm speaking to you, because for a regular race, it shouldn't be that way. It should be, the way Spartan used to say was up until the award ceremony. And then once the awards happen, it's official. However, they later would change that and they would penalize before, after, doesn't matter. I think 48 hours is a little too long. Secondly, what they're now saying is we accept this, which means, and trust me, it's going to happen. Everybody's uncle, girlfriend, mom is going to be following the competitors around and saying, look, right? It's really bad precedent. So
that's what I said.
So let's look at the video. And by the way, I was sent this video. I was told this is the video, but I can't confirm that. You can tell me if this is the video. Okay. We are both looking at this, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Off we go. So is this the same video you saw?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the video itself now that we've confirmed that is in fact the same video?
Yeah, there is. Well, I remember the race, and I know there was only one. It was the final length when I started to cramp, so that's when I started taking the steps. But I just want to say I apologize to my competitors and to HYROX for taking those few steps. But also, I was 3 minutes ahead of second place. I was finished the lunge before second place even came in. So to be honest with you, it had no bearing on the overall result. It probably gave me a 10 to 15 second advantage. And just to say, I came in contact with a judge when the video ends. So there's no more little shuffle. I come in contact and then I go back to my normal, proper standard of lunging. But I just want to say, it is a clear violation. I apologize. It's never going to happen again. I cramped. I was pushing to a level I've never pushed before. I got a bit of race brain fog. I was redlining, and as I'm trying to relieve the cramp, and I see a 10-meter gap, I just move my feet, as you can see in the video, and I think it's three. I think it's 1 step, 2 step lunge, 1 step lunge, and then I think it's 3 violations in a row, and then I come in contact.
Maybe
but, like,
maybe they give you 2 minutes per violation. Then maybe that was their logic.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if like I look at the comments, and I think I've been fair in this. Like I've said, like, I did violate the rules, and I apologize. But like, if you look at the rule book, it's a 5-meter penalty. So if a judge actually seen me do that, he would have warned me in the first one. He would have put me back on the second one. I would have got a 5-meter penalty, and then I would have been good to go. And you're talking 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And also, I want to say my lunch time was 2:55 in London, which you can, when I won the race, it was 3:05. In the World Champs, it was 3:05, I think, as well, or 3:06, something like that. So it wasn't like it was a minute faster or 40 seconds faster than my average time. I think it was within range. I probably got a 10-second advantage from those shuffles towards the end. And like I said, I apologize due to pushing it to the absolute max. I shouldn't have done it, but again, let's be real here. That's not a 6-minute violation. Come on.
Well, I guess my issue isn't if we think the punishment fits the crime. That's a piece of it, but the other piece of it is a 6-minute penalty isn't in the rule book.
Yeah, but I spoke to Sadiq, actually. Sadiq had a similar scenario last year, if you remember. He got a 3-minute penalty on the lunges. So they gave him a 3-minute penalty for the same thing, for taking steps while he was lunging. And I got a 6-minute penalty.
Sadiq El Faturi?
Yeah, he got a retrospective 3-minute penalty, I believe.
So I want to actually read the damn rule book.
Yeah.
HYROX rule book. New rules, hang on, this is a article. I mean, this is a podcast. I want to find, because they actually do print a rule book, and if you print a rule book, you got to follow it, right?
Yeah. I looked at it briefly. I could not see any reference to a 6-minute penalty. I believe it's because it's unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe, I think, but it's not like like you said, I didn't like trip someone up or give them an elbow, or, you know what I mean? I just took a few shuffles and steps. It wasn't like, I don't know, it was egregious, but it wasn't like, wow, this is really, really, really bad,
Let me go to lunges here. That's wall balls.
Mm-hmm.
Lunges must be alternating, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If the if the athlete violates any of the above mentioned points, the repetition becomes invalid, and in the second warning, the athlete receives a 5-minute distance penalty. So that's what they're saying the actual penalty is.
5-meter penalty.
What did I say?
5 minute.
Sorry, 5M, which is meter. Now let's go to by registering for a HYROX event, participants are agreeing to compete in a fair and honorable manner. Poor sportsmanship, e.g., attempts at deception, manipulation, excessive disputes, as well as disrupting and or obstructing other participants, can lead to penalties, disqualification, a lifetime ban from HYROX, and or legal action. Any participant who is disqualified from a HYROX competition or banned for future events will not receive a refund for any fees or dues. This also applies to other behavior that could harm or disturb participants, volunteers, staff, sponsors, and spectators. At event organizers' discretion, any of the aforementioned actions may be taken against participants. So, okay, sorry, here's one more piece. Distance and time penalties. I don't like to ever do a lot of reading on podcasts, but I think this is valuable. Distance time penalties can be issued on the run and at workout stations 1 through 8. Distance penalties depend on the workout and range between 5 meters or 10 meters. Time penalties depend on the infringement and the workout station. Penalty decisions can be made by any referee/judge after consensus with a head judge and or race director. For workout stations 1 through 7, there'll be 1 warning per station before penalties apply where movement standards are not met. You were never given a warning. With
No.
the second warning of any infringement, the repetition is considered invalid, and the athlete receives the corresponding distance time penalty. Any further warning within the station will result in additional time penalties. So it's very vague, and I don't know if that's intentionally vague or they just realize they need to write the rule book better, because both of those things, the one that talks about after and the one that talks about specifically stations 1 through 8 says penalties, but it doesn't specify number of minutes or meters. And if they're following their own rule book, you were never warned.
No. Like, can I ask, like, what's your opinion? Do you think, that infringement warrants a 6-minute penalty? What's your opinion?
Well, here's the thing, Sean. You cannot win in this situation. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
It's very brave of you to come on because the internet is going to do what it does. And this is part of sport, is dealing with criticism, and I have to deal with the same thing. And I learned a long time ago that you really can't win. You could apologize, you could fall on your sword. Oh, mea culpa, I'm so sorry. And people are like, yeah, he's still a fucking cheater. You know what I mean? Like, the internet's going to do what the internet does. So you made a mistake, you owned up to it, and I think you look at whether that's like the best you can do or not. Whether it's kind of like if I can't think of a good example. What I think, in my opinion, is they should follow their own rule book. So either we missed it and we blew it and we'll do better next time, which is the right answer, I think, or we're kind of arbitrary and capricious. Sometimes it's 4 minutes, sometimes it's 6 minutes, and we can do it whenever we want, up to 48 hours. No one wants that in sport. There's always controversy. There's always ways to phrase things. We see it in pro football all the time. We still don't know what a catch is. This is American football. But what you did was what you did, and you said, I own it, and I see that I took some steps and I shouldn't have. The rest is out of our hands.
Yeah. See, my point was, like, HYROX said you cannot win a pro race doing that. And my kind of answer to that was, if you look at my race itself, I was the fastest on the sleds. I was unbroken on the wall balls. I was the fastest on the farmer's carry. I was one of the fastest on the runs. And then to put it like, okay, that's it. We're giving you 6 minutes on top of your lunch time. It took me 22 minutes to do all 8 stations. And then I'm getting a 6-minute penalty for 1. You know what I mean? That for me is what I don't agree with, because I think it should be proportionate to the breach. And yes, I apologize. There was, someone said, like, listen, I feel like you're not, owning up to it. And I said, like, what more do you want me to say? I said I violated the rules. I apologize. And, there's nothing else I can do. I'm disqualified. I didn't gain anything from it. I won't make the same mistake again. Like, I'll be racing soon, and I'm going to have someone record every station, and put it up to show complete transparency. And also, it gives transparency for judges to say, okay, if they're showing the rep is good, or even if they're, saying it's a no rep when it should be a rep. So that's my take on it. I'll never make the same mistake. It could be a blessing in disguise. And I'm also like, I'm only a year in this. Like, for me to run a 56 and I'm a year, I'm like, come on, lads. You know what I mean? I'm a year doing this, and I'm able to get nearly to Elite 15, where lads are doing this years and years. I think there's a little bit of like, okay, he's coming in here and he's running 56. Fuck this guy. We're not allowing that. Let's rip him apart, and let's go back and try, discredit everything. And like, I hold my hands up and say, yeah, fair enough. I made a mistake, but it won't happen again. But I think to, completely rip me and say, okay, he's a cheater, he's no integrity or whatever, that's wrong as well.
So are you in the leaderboard? Because you just said disqualified. I thought it was just the penalty. Are you in the leaderboard?
No, I asked to be disqualified. I said to myself, that performance did not warrant a 62-minute performance, because 6 minutes on top of 56, 62. So I said to HYROX, I said, fair enough, you made the decision. I appealed it, and they disagreed. They said, the steps were a clear violation, so we can't let it stand. So I said, out of respect for the performance, or out of the respect for me, please, can you disqualify me, give me a DQ, and remove my name from the rankings, because I thought that was fair.
And they did that?
And they did that, yeah. And I respect that, because I didn't want people to go back and say, oh, Sean did well, but the lunges got him. You know what I mean? Like 9 minutes on the lunges. So I was just like, no.
So you were pro Saturday, right?
I was pro Saturday. They've removed it, yeah. It should be pro overall and pro Saturday. You should be able to see both.
So pro Saturday, there's an overall?
Yeah, so if you go on...
So they did this like they did Toronto. You guys had separate days,
Yeah.
but then they only gave away one award.
Yeah, exactly.
So Elta Hupkis, is that who won?
I think so, yeah. He won on
59.47. He won on Saturday. Hidi Veersma second. Yep. David Parkin third. Is that what you see?
Yep.
And yeah, you're no longer on here, and you're not on High Result either.
Yeah, because no, that's because I requested it. I asked.
Where are you racing next?
So I want to get out as soon as possible, because yeah, like you don't get into the lunges when I got into the lunges without all the without being fit. So I want to get out probably Poland, maybe in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, Poznan, maybe London, probably the end of November. I'm racing Dublin as well. So I want to get out quick. I usually don't race that often. I usually race every now and again, but because I'm fit at the moment, I think I'll run a 56 again.